Hello everyone, it's Janet here with my design team project for the Wild Bunch and Wild Orchid Crafts. This time I made a couple of thank you cards and a little thank you gift that I wanted to send to some friends. So the first item is the little thank you gift, and it's this piece right here. I'll move the cards out of the way for now. So this is a little package where I put in a dress form, and I wrapped the dress form with seam binding. So I took one of the Tim Holtz dress forms and I cut it out on chipboard, and then I used the matte medium and put on paper on the front and back. And on all these projects, once again, I've used the Tea Time collection from Prima. So for this, to do the seam binding, I took these three kinds from Wild Orchid Crafts: the white, the cruise beige, and the cream. And first I dipped them in tea, hot tea, and then I scrunched them up and let all the extra out, squeezed all the extra of it out, and then I laid it on my craft mat, and then I just used a little bit of glimmer mist. So this is the pink, and so it had the tea first, and then I added the vintage pink glimmer mist, and then the brown I added a little suede glimmer mist. And I wanted it pale, so I kind of sprayed it and then dabbed it with a paper towel to get the lighter color. And I only have a little bit of green left, but that was the olive vine from the glimmer mist. And I don't know if all of you noticed, but I use a lot of seam binding. It is so beautiful, and it just turns out so pretty when you do it this way, and then it makes it really easy to make arrangements with the flowers, the beautiful Wild Orchid Craft flowers. So I just used a clear bag, and I wrapped the seam binding around the dress form, and at the bottom of the dress form I used the crocheted lace, the LA00020, and I put it right down here on the bottom, and then I wrapped the seam binding around. And when my friend gets this gift, she can take off the seam binding and use it. I tried to put enough on there so that it's actually usable. And then I have one of the little pink tone roses, EX00032, on top of the little seam binding bow right here. Have a cherry blossom in the pale pink right here, and a decorative crown pin with a bead on the bottom, and that's in a pale green. Some feathers back here, and down here on the spool I wrapped some twine, and I added a little sweetheart blossom in white, FS00044, just on top of that twine down there. And at the top I used one of the, in Prima they come in the packs, and I just folded it over, and I wrapped the seam binding around the top, and then I put a cluster of flowers. This one is the pale pink curly wild rose, FM00392. Put that up there. The butterfly was from my stash, and some little charm pieces from my stash. And then I have a cream small curly wild rose, FM00319. It's right up here. And then I have a pale pink. It's one of these from the mixed roses, PM00131. I have that right down here. So it makes a lovely, lovely little gift. So that is the gift. And now for the cards. The first card I made, I used a Cricut cartridge to make the cutout. And I have a little banner piece. I think it was a pink paisley. I've had that a while. And I used up the rest of my pink satin ribbon, pink silk ribbon, excuse me, SK00010, and that was really hard to part with the last of that. And then a couple of my favorites, the pink small curly wild rose, FM00259. I have them right down there. And then I used a deep ivory small curly wild rose, FM00213, right down here. So you can kind of see the way I have the And of course some glue. The rose silk ribbon just into a bow, and I also added some of the green seam binding there. And then down here, just peeking out, you can see some of the beautiful Guipure ivory lace LA00050. So it's just peeking out right here and here. And then I have from the 99-cent store one of the earrings, the cameos, with a little piece of the pink seam binding up here. And then I have some of the deep ivory hip rosebuds, BUD 136. I have two of those right here, and then I have a pale pink one out of the mixed pink tone hip rosebuds, BUD 139. I have one of those right there. So just a simple little card, but I love how it came out. And because I used the Prima pack that has the white on one side, I just cut the first piece, and the second piece I turned the paper over so that when I could layer them together, and I just taped them together. So I got the double-sided, and then I used another one of those journal pieces on the center of the card. So that is that card. And then for my other card, Amy from My Teddy Boo gave me the typewriter die, and I've been wanting to use it. So I wanted the keys to show up. So what I did is I painted the chipboard cutout piece in pink, and I backed it with some black paper, and then I used glossy accents in the center of all the keys and the space bar. And then I have on some bond paper I printed out on my computer with gratitude, and I kind of curled that up a little bit so it looks like that. And then I have down on here, I have one of the pale pink small gardenia flower, FS00105, right there. And then I also used one of the pale pink poppy flowers, FS00075. I used that right here. And I just had a little bit of that green, so I put a little piece on the back of that to make it look like leaves and pull a little bit of the green in. And I used some of the more taupish color seam binding that I dyed, and some more of the deep ivory hip rosebuds. And down at the bottom here, I have some of the Guipure cream lace. That's this one here, LA00027. So pretty. And then I also put a piece of the Guipure cream lace. I just cut off the top edging on this one, and that was LA00022, and I have that going along the edge right here, and then you can see it right in there too. So for the back of this card, I did something different. I used the tea time paper in the back, and then I had some chiffon, kind of some shimmery chiffon pink, and I laid a piece over the top, and then I stitched diagonally at same distances apart. I don't know if you can see that. And then I cut in between them, and so the chiffon kind of comes up, and it's a really neat effect. And I don't know if you can really see it on this card, but it came out really neat, and I will be using that technique in some future projects I have coming up. But it really, really turned out pretty, and I know the camera just can't possibly do it justice. So there is that card. On the inside, I just layered some of the tea time paper and did stitching, decorative stitching around the edges. Cut out a little banner piece in the back and stuck that there with another one of the journaling cards that go with the collection in the center. So I love how that turned out. So I appreciate everyone so much for watching, and all the sweet comments that I get. I really, really appreciate them, and I read every one. So thanks so much. See you later. Bye.